Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Idaho Business Podcast. I am here with Brian Hermansen, owner of BrandStack. This guy is a pusher and a shaker and a mover. He's making things happen over there in the Boise market. This guy was born and raised in Pocatello. As I've already said, he's in Boise now. We'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah, thanks for being on the show, Brian.
No, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah. Before we get into the nitty gritty, as Nacho Libre likes to say, we'll have to get into the sponsorship part of this show. Is that we're sponsored by Health West. You guys are remarkable partners. If you guys need any help with your health, Google where they're closest to you within the Idaho area, and find where they're closest to you, and go and visit them. See how they can help you and your family. All right, Brian. Well, number one, you grew up in Pocatello. Now you're moving to Boise. You know, you're not moving. You're moved. You're established in Boise. You're
right.
You're owning this company, BrandStack. Why did you make the move to Boise? And then tell us about BrandStack.
Yeah, so I grew up in Pocatello. I moved away from there in 2011, and I've been down in Utah since then.
Okay.
My wife and I got married and lived there for 7-8 years. And then we moved to Boise in 2019. And really the move just because, you know, family kind of shifted that way. And we're big about family and wanted our kids to grow up around cousins. And I didn't grow up around cousins. I watch these movies where people are so tight with their cousins and playing games and stuff. And I didn't have that as a kid. And I wanted that so bad. So I'm very close with my siblings. My wife is very close with her siblings, and we both have family here in Boise. So we made the move here and spend a lot of time with them.
Awesome. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Now let's get into the BrandStack. You know, tell us a little bit about BrandStack and what you're doing there.
Yeah. So BrandStack, which was originally called Vero Advisors till about 6 months ago.
Okay.
And we made the switch to BrandStack because when I started Vero, have you ever heard of Varo Bank or Varo Money? Yeah. It's like an online banking. Mm-hmm. So when we started, they did not exist, or at least they weren't very big. And then spelled the same, but they pronounce it different. And they got so big that I just didn't want to compete with the same spelled word. Mm-hmm. So we changed to BrandStack about 6 months ago, and it's been a really, really great change. But we focus primarily on web design, email marketing, and product photography. We deal a lot with e-commerce stores. That's kind of our specialty. Okay. But we do also work with a lot of service-based companies, cleaning companies, sure. Lawn service companies. Right now, we're in the middle of building a pretty big website for a dentist down in Utah, insurance agencies, stuff like that. So,
okay,
yeah,
I love it. Well, this will be a good episode for our listeners, because I'll ask you some good questions, because I'm sure the majority, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there's probably the majority of businesses out there probably aren't marketing right.
Yeah, they're doing their best.
They're doing their best, but then their call to action will be, hey, tweet me, call me, email me, whatever,
Yeah.
Their call to actions all, it's whack, or they don't have any follow-up sequences. And I'm talking to myself too, because mine could be better. So,
so could mine. Everyone's could be.
Yeah. So let's talk about why you got this business started. What was the center of your why to this? Besides your family, obviously you want to support them and provide for them, but
sure.
What was the need and the focus for you to start this business? Why?
Yeah. So beyond what I do for BrandStack, I actually own a couple e-commerce stores. on the side. And they didn't used to be on the side. They used to be my main thing. And I just found myself loving the process of starting out, getting that logo up on the website, building the product pages, building the funnels. I found myself loving that more than I loved the day-to-day aspects of running the e-commerce store. So my main thing for several years, we talked about how I dropped out of college, and it was because I got to this point where my e-commerce stores had really started taking off and I was starting to have kids, and I kind of had to decide, do I want to keep going to school? Do I want to support my family and go all in on this e-commerce stuff? And I did.
Good.
And yeah, the more I built, and those, some of them I've sold off, some I still have, and I'm always kind of looking for more to build on the side because I do love doing e-commerce personally. But the more I did it, the more I realized I didn't actually love the day-to-day operations as much as I loved those beginning stages of finding a name, building a website, getting our name out there, running a Kickstarter, launching products. I just loved that stage of it. So when people started, friends and others started reaching out, asking if I could help here and there with their e-commerce stores and getting them started, I like jumped at those opportunities. So slowly over years, I shifted more to BrandStack being my main thing, with e-commerce being my side gigs. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, when you're talking about other businesses, service businesses, white collar, like you said, you're putting together something for a dentist in Utah right now. What are maybe some key things that businesses need to know that, maybe know that they're maybe possibly dropping the ball on, or they're just not overlooking something, that there's literally money in front of you if you're willing to just reach and pick it up.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to having just a good funnel in place for your advertising and stuff like that. And a lot of these people don't do advertising yet, and it's a common misconception. And I like to clarify this with all my discovery calls. Mm-hmm. It's a common misconception that if you have a website, you will get traffic, and that is just not the case. You can spend $5,000 on a website and you will get 2 or 3 visitors a month unless you dedicate time and probably money towards SEO, backlinks, and actually pushing traffic towards your website and funnels. So I know that's not a glamorous answer to spend money on ads, but that's really it. Figuring out, especially for service-based things, for e-commerce, I do a lot of Facebook, video, photo ads. Mm-hmm. But for service-based things like Google ads and stuff like that is really kind of the place to be for that.
I love it. Let's.
Do you do? I'm curious, just on your end. Do you?
Yeah, right. And yeah, I do. I currently use some Google ads, and I have some funnels set up. And I dabble with some. I don't dabble. I don't do it because I know I'm not good at it. I've had another company set up some SEO stuff for me. But yeah, let's dive a little simpler into this, because I hear people thinking, hey, number one, what's a funnel? I see a funnel, something that I put into my oil reserve to dump oil into my car.
Yeah.
Explain in layman's terms what a funnel is to the so people that don't understand it.
Yeah, a funnel is something that starts very broad as far as an offer or what you're offering through your company. And it narrows down to get specific people to purchase your product or service. So, the top of the funnel would be an ad on Facebook that says, we're a new dentist in your area. And then they click it, and then they can sign up for notifications, eventually coming down to the point where they book a call with you, or, maybe not for a dentist, but something like this podcast. You have a great funnel for this podcast where you book guests for your show. Starts broad and eventually narrows it down to people that are a good fit for your company.
Mm-hmm. Now, the people are thinking, hey, I've spent money in the past on AdWords or whatever it is, and it didn't work for me. Well, you're probably thinking, you can answer this better, but they're probably thinking they started off with, hey, I'm a new dentist, and they didn't get any clicks or maybe a new customer from that. Well, they didn't probably realize or understand, hey, let's look at the metrics from how that ran. And maybe we need to change up the offer, the lead magnet,
Yeah.
Let's speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. And to be honest, to be fully transparent, I don't consider myself an expert in the field of advertising.
Sure.
I have a guy named Levi Price who I work really close with, and he's really, really good. He runs all the ads for our e-commerce stores and stuff like that. But obviously, being in the position I'm at, and I always tell my clients that too, like, I'm here to build a website, and then I will help you as much as possible implement with Levi to get this advertising going.
Awesome.
But yeah, I try to be transparent with that as well.
That's great.
Because it is two totally different skill sets, the design of a website and then running the SEO. And now I can't remember your original question.
No, I just say, what I was getting at is, people, I feel like, give up too early when they're
absolutely.
And they're thinking,
and it's scary too.
It is scary.
Like you can spend a lot of money. One time I forgot to turn off a Google ad that didn't perform well, and I just completely forgot about it. And I looked back and I had spent like $700 on it. And I was like, oh my goodness. So that is scary. There's a scary aspect of getting started. Yeah. But yeah, people aren't patient enough, and they tend to give up too quick and say that it didn't work. And really, all these platforms, Google, Facebook, Insta, they all need time to adjust and to learn and get it and learn and to get it to the right people. Yeah.
And a lot of times, like you're in a bigger market in Boise. You have a lot more people to saturate and get to get the message to. I'm in Pocatello or Idaho Falls or Burley.
Totally.
These are smaller tertiary markets that, honestly, to start off, if you're a service-based company, a landscaping business or a roofing business, you could literally start off at $5 a day just to get things running.
Yeah.
And you can learn from that. And if your first ad of, hey, I'm a new roofer in this Idaho Falls area doesn't work, okay, maybe that's not what people are interested in.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to talk about them. What are their problems? What are they dealing with? With problems in their roof, and then narrow things down. And then as you do that, you test and you split test, and then that you don't have to be a pro at that. That's why you hire Brand Stack and the other companies like this to do this kind of stuff for you. But if you're willing to spend a little bit of money and to spend and invest some time, the return's out there for you. Don't be afraid of what's out there.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And, I also have the other benefit of, like, I actually don't work with Boise people all that terribly much. I mean, I will, and it's not like I'm like not willing to work with them. It's just, we don't market specifically to Boise people. We have the benefit of being able to work remote with anyone. So we build websites for people in New York and let's see, we just finished up. Let's see, Mark, I think he's in Maine. So, we're all over the United States and for web design clients and stuff like that. But then we do a lot of like local things, like our videography services, obviously mostly for local people and stuff like that.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
I love it. So we've talked a little bit about advertising and funnels, so people that are listening, don't be afraid of it. Go out there and call Brian after this, and he'll give you his information here in a little bit. And they can walk you through some stuff. So don't be afraid. But let's talk about some email marketing. For a second. Let's dive into that. What are your keys there? What's so important about that?
Yeah. So email marketing keeps your business, your brand, your products really at the forefront of people's minds. It's similar to, on Instagram, making a story on your Instagram page. It's not a post that'll stay there forever, but it's something that quickly people will see. They'll look at it and keep it at the top of their minds. It's constant content being pushed to your customers. So we do a couple different things. We do these one-off, hire us to build one email for you, which is very popular this time of year, just because Christmas and Black Friday and people are wanting emails for those types of events. Excuse me. But most of what we do is like a monthly email marketing service where it's like you pay us X amount per month. And there's 5 different plans, 1 email a month, all the way up to 5 emails per month. That's obviously for more bigger brands and stuff like that. And we'll send those emails on a weekly basis for you.
Cool.
And yeah, so again, that's more tailored to a lot of these e-commerce businesses, people who are selling physical products, because, we can shout out sales and we can talk about new products, new drops that are in the shop and that kind of stuff.
I love it. But even for service businesses,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I wasn't saying that to discourage service-based businesses. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can easily hey, I've got a new service that I'm offering right now, or I'm, for new or existing customers, this is my offer, there's always stuff out there, so.
Absolutely. And it's this nuanced thing because and customers have a hard time with this at first, email marketing customers of ours, that not every email is designed to make money. And they're like, well, we're paying, we need to see a return on that. And we can't make every email a sales email. I follow this brand called Ugmonk. They sell desk accessories. I have a couple right here. I can't show you, but once a month he emails just like 4 things he's digging that month type thing. And I love that email because he's just such a cool guy and he has really cool insights. And sometimes you just need those brand building emails to be sent out where people get to know you, your brand, your employees, your values without selling something. And people appreciate that too.
Yeah, I get that. I get that for sure. I think too many of us think, I've got to make some more revenue this quarter. Got to go find new clients. And that's great. Yeah. New clients are fun and exciting, but they forget about an easy way to make more money is to offer your current customers, offer more services to your current customers.
Yep, absolutely. And upselling and checking in with them often. And then also people who are no longer your customers, checking back in with them. And that's another big part of email marketing is just making sure customers are tagged correctly. I don't know if you're super familiar with this kind of stuff, but making sure they're tagged correctly so that you can send an email to people who are no longer customers, and you can send one to people who are customers, and then more sales funnel type emails to people who aren't yet customers. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree on that stuff. So that's huge. Yeah, there's so much that these companies that have been around for a long time, they're thinking, you know what, I'm very word of mouth. This is how I grow. This is how I've always done it. That's fine. I'm glad that you're being successful that way. But man, if you incorporate a few new things here and there, how much more successful could you be?
Yeah.
And how much
I know,
more,
and it's.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna. It's hard. It's hard to dive into something you don't really want to. An example of this is I've known for a long time I should probably get a TikTok, and I really, really don't want to.
Yeah.
But just last night I did sign up BrandStack for a TikTok, and we posted our first TikTok this morning, and I hated it. But things change, and whether it's ad platforms or whatever social media channels, you have to adapt and you have to try those new things. Yep,
it's true. What are the biggest I guess kickbacks? That's not the right word I'm looking for. Like the resistance you get from your new clients that you're trying to onboard about the steps you're trying to take for them. What are the things that most of the resistance you're getting from them?
That's a good question. I think so a lot of what we do is stuff that everyone can do. Anyone can do. Anyone can go sign up for a website. Anyone can go sign up for MailChimp and run their own email marketing. And that's great. I try to be very transparent with clients and tell them that if you're capable of doing that, and if you're not wearing too many hats and it's something you can do well, by all means, do it well. That's how I started out. I did it all. That's how I learned all this stuff. But then there are people who just don't have the time and quite honestly don't have the expertise. And yes, they can go build a Shopify website, but I promise you it will not look as good. It will not perform as well. It will not be as professional as a website that I build for you. Mm-hmm. So it's really just this, and that's part of that funnel is helping people understand the expertise we bring to it, even though, yes, you can go sign up and do it yourself, which I encourage you to do if you have zero budget. But helping people understand the expertise that we bring to the table for those services. And then there's other services that, like product photography. Most people can't do that on their own at a high level. Everyone can get their phone and take a picture of their product. And it's getting people to understand the difference between a phone product picture and a product picture featuring our, or using our $7,000 setup, Sure. So, yeah.
I get it. I, for example, those that are listening, and Brian, I'm sure you've ran across this too. I've had a CRM system for the last year that I keep telling myself, you know what, I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to get it all set up. It's probably 3/4 of the way set up, but there's a lot of different things I want to be running more efficiently in the company. And it could easily be running if I would just spend the time. But the problem is I have so many other irons in the fire. So yes, I need to hire someone just to run the CRM system and to who's smart at that stuff. And that's the thing. I feel like too many of us are wearing so many hats and we're not willing to take one of them off and to say, hey, you know what? You're smart. I'm going to give this hat to you to do because I know I'll be more effective and more productive if I take some of these hats off.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's something I struggle with myself is taking those hats off. And although there's a couple hats I wish I could take off forever and never put back on, like I hate social media, like running. I like the funny videos and stuff, but I hate the process of like uploading a video and adding captions and all that kind of stuff, So that kind of hat I wish I could take off forever. Another thing that, a couple months probably about a year and a half ago now, I was talking with a really good buddy of mine, and I kind of was like, I sometimes I feel guilty charging so much for like a Shopify website. And for reference, we typically charge between $3,000 to $7,000, depending on the scope or size of your website. Sometimes it's one product. We built a furniture website for someone who they have 17,000 products. Wow. So totally different ball game there. But I was talking to him and I was like, sometimes I feel a little guilty almost charging people that much for a website because, it is something they can do on their own. And if they put in the time and weeks and months really to build a great website. And then he actually happened to start a website a couple of weeks later using Shopify, the platform I recommended. And he kept messaging me and asking how to do this and this and this. And he was like, dude, our conversation a couple of weeks ago where you said you felt guilty because anyone can do this. He was like, that is not the case. He was like, I don't understand like 3/4 of what's going on the back end. And I don't know how to edit this. And that made me feel better because I was like, yeah, in my mind, it's easy because I've been doing it for 10 years now. Yeah. But to the person just getting on and building a Shopify store right now, it might not be as intuitive as I thought it was. So yeah, that kind of gives me comfort of the value we're bringing to these, to our clients.
That's right. And Brian, anyone could say that about any of their businesses.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I could perform heart surgery too. I just have to go to school and learn how to do that too. I could do that. I'll save some money. I'll just go to school and spend $300,000 in school to do all that. And then I'll show you, I'll do it myself. It's everyone can say that, but it all comes down to we're all adding value to people's lives. And yeah, I don't want to build my own website. I don't want to, put my own email chains together. Like I don't want to do payroll for my company. I don't want to do this. I want to focus on what I'm really good at. Yeah. And that's what people should be focusing on, and that's what's going to help grow and advance their agendas further along, and if you're sitting there in your company, you're like, man, I haven't grown or I've been in business 5 or 10 years and I'm not where I should be or where I expected to be. It's probably because you're not willing to take off some of those hats.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, let's enter into the lightning round real quick as we close up. And the lightning round is sponsored by New Clean Commercial Cleaning, one of my companies. So if anyone needs their toilet scrubbed, and we're not in the Boise market yet, but anywhere from Burley all the way over to Rexburg, we're covering those markets. And you give us a call at 208-254-7070. And you tell us that you heard about us on the podcast. We'll come to your office and give you a free sterilization of your office, which is great for cold and flu season. It's a good reset of your office just by saying you heard about us on the podcast. So, Brian, is there a best book or tool or software you've used recently that's kind of been your game changer?
Oh man, I read this book. I went to Austin a couple weeks ago for a client who hopefully doesn't listen to this. He insisted he flies me out to work with him in the office. And I kept saying that is unnecessary. I can do everything remote, but he flew me out and we worked there in person. But on the way over, I read this book by a guy named Chris Do. And he is a designer. I'm trying to pull it up right now I can't quite remember the name of the book. It's A Pocket Full of Dough, and dough is spelled D-O. But man, if you're interested in design and increasing sales, and this dude is like the best. Yeah, in fact, on my other window right now, I have 2 YouTube videos up from his YouTube channel because I just love watching him. He talks about sales funnels and making the sell and closing sales, and he's crazy good at what he does, and he's so insightful. So I'd recommend that book, A Pocket Full of Dough.
I will put that on my list.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, I love it. One of the ones I just read, and I've said it a lot lately, but it's an old one, the E-Myth. And I've always been told to read it. And I read it lately. And I'm just like, why didn't I not read this 10 years ago?
Yeah, I've not read it.
It's a fantastic book.
I'll add that to my list.
Okay. Great. That's what we're here for, to better each other, So everyone out there, you're getting some good resources here to go read. All right. What's maybe the biggest myth business owners need to know the truth about?
Oh, man. Honestly, this might sound bad, but anyone who claims to be a perfect expert on anything is probably lying to you. We're all just trying to learn and do our best. And every time someone's like, "Oh, I'm a social media expert, ad expert," I'm always like, you might get lucky once in a while, because everything is just trial and error. And in my world, we call that A/B testing. You test these 2 things to see which does better, and then you get rid of this one, and then you expand this one and test it again with something else. And so, but it's important to act confident and act like you know what you're doing. And I try to be transparent. If someone asks me a question, I just tell them I don't fully know, but I'll try to answer their question and get back to you.
I think it's all about setting realistic expectations.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's huge, because I think people, they're willing to help other people, and they know that we're not perfect. We all make mistakes. And the people that don't think that they make mistakes, you know what? I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around you, because if you're that type of person, like, gosh, you're going to be a difficult one to deal with. So
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So that's good. All right. Well, this last question I'll ask, and then I'm going to roll the red carpet out for you and then Brand Stack, and then we'll go from there. So what is one question I should have asked that I didn't ask?
Oh, man.
And if you can't think of anything, that's great too. But
your questions are very insightful. I can't think of anything, dude. I've been on a lot of podcasts, actually. And there's almost always, between conversation topics, this downtime of the host looking at his notes, and he says, "I'll edit this out later." And you didn't do that once. I think you did great. I honestly can't think of anything. I think you asked some awesome, stellar questions today.
It's probably because I'm not smart enough to actually do that. It's all on the fly. So.
No, I love it.
Well, good, buddy. Well, people are listening and they're thinking, man, this Brian dude's smart dude. He knows what he's talking about. I like what I'm hearing. Where do I get a hold of him and Brand Stack if they want you to do some marketing for them and email?
Yeah.
Stuff.
So our website is brandstack.co. It's not .com, which I realize is unique, but it's Brandstack, BRAND stack.co. Email is Brian with an I at brandstack.co. And our phone number, I can't remember. Let me pull it up.
No, it's fine.
Phone number is 385-376-4200.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on. And we always end this with this show telling everyone, it's important to us. It's important to me to, just be happy, to be grateful, and to go out and find opportunities to serve others.
Yeah.
Life's too short. So
absolutely. I agree.
Thank you again.
Yeah,
Brian.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah. And to everyone, go out there and dominate your week again. Until next episode, see ya.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.